Hello, everybody. I'm gonna make one little fix here live, cause hey, what's up?
Okay, we'll
Any,
do it live.
well, everybody, welcome to the movie podcast. Shut up, trying to watch here, which will be changed in the near future, actually, cause it's a long,
Did
long
we
sentence.
come up with what we were actually going to do, or are we still kind of just kind of throwing shit out there?
Pretty much. This is like, man,
Don't worry, guys. We're professionals.
yeah. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the new Ghost in the Shell movie that came out recently, and boy, does it have so much controversy. But before we get into it, there's some rules we need to go over for this podcast, or for those watching at home or listening later on YouTube. We will discuss the movie as shown above to follow along. We will talk about the movie in a non-spoiler review for anyone who hasn't seen the movie. We'll then
Attempt
move
to.
on to the spoiler section that will be discussing spoilers, and we will end the podcast with our final thoughts on the movie as well as our final score. With that being said, it is time to move on to the non-spoiler section of Ghost in the Shell. All right, so well, I'm getting some feedback on my end. Hang on a second, let me fix that.
Well, then I'll pick up the slack while he does that. First off, I want to say non-spoilers should be relative here. It's Ghost in the Shell. Come on, guys. You've seen Ghost in the Shell, right? You're a nerd. You've seen Ghost in the Shell. Spoilers are questionable at any point in this review, honestly, because if you've seen it, you kind of already know what's going on.
Right, and for me, like
The
the thing,
remake.
yeah, the remake or whatever, however it may be. For me, when I was watching the movie, I could see why people were really turned off by it because to us who has seen the series, and I love Ghost in the Shell, especially the anime on Cartoon Network or on Tsunami, whatever it was being aired on. I really loved that the anime, and I loved the movie afterwards. Not this one, but like the animated one afterwards that they did. It was good. It was great. And what if you haven't seen the anime series, or you have no knowledge of the Ghost in the Shell prior, you're gonna come into this very confused and kind of asking why should I care about these people? Who is Section 8? Like what's going on?
I think that's at first you are, but they do a very good job of explaining it. To be fair,
Um,
like they don't go into all the intricacies of what Section 8 is, but they do give you at least a general grasp on it during the movie.
a general grasp
So
is.
it's not like you're sitting there the entire movie going like, "What's going on? I don't understand any of this." If you're paying attention to the movie, you're going to get a general idea of what's happening.
Mm. The other thing though, too, on top of it, it's just like some of the characters, uh, the main characters in this movie obviously are going to be, the major, um, as well as Balto's like him. Those two are the main characters of this, the main two main characters of this story. Um,
Definitely.
Everybody else associated with the team, um, you know, they're really cool. I will say, just kind of starting off the bat, like I think the aesthetic of Ghost in the Shell is nailed perfectly. I think they nailed the look pretty damn awesome. Um, I think that uh, the acting of all the character of at least for I'll just say for Balto and the Major, I think it was pretty well done. I had no real issues with their acting or the other members of Section 8. I really love the fact that they had like I forgot his name, but the head honcho, the Japanese guy. Um,
Oh, the leader of Section 8.
yeah, I love the fact that they kept him like speaking in Japanese, but it had subtitles underneath it. I was like, oh, that's
Right?
really
It's like, no, 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 no. We went super, super depth for this guy. He only speaks Japanese. Good luck.
yes. It's so good. I love it. It's awesome. Um, I just wish I kind of wish they kind of delve a little bit more into the Section 8 characters, other than the fact they're just being there for the sake of being there as a team. Um, just a little more to give people in the audience to care more about those, because for those who haven't seen the Ghost in Shell anime or anything of that, you know what there was very little reason to really care as far as like who are these characters, why should I care? Like the only characters I guess I care about in the movie are just Balto and the Major and
To be
Ned.
fair, though, on that point, it's been a little while since I've seen the original movie, so
Hmm.
let me throw that one out there. It has been a little while, but honestly, in the original movie, you don't get a whole lot into those characters either. I mean, it's mostly the original animated movie is mostly the Major and
Hmm.
a little bit of everybody else.
Hmm.
So I think that was more of a trying to recreate it as closely as possible because Hollywood has gotten a lot of flack for not for doing reboots and remakes and things like that and not following the original and just going completely off script.
That is true. That is very true. That is often the case in Hollywood with some comic to movie or anime to movie as far as like taking some liberty uh, with that change. And this time around, they actually wanted to keep it true to form with Ghost in the Shell, and they did. Like, I sat there and I was enjoying it, but I could understand why people would not enjoy it too at the same time.
Oh,
Um,
definitely,
mhm.
definitely. I feel like it wasn't as well received though, and I'm getting right to it. I warned you before we started.
Oh yeah,
I,
okay.
I think it was. I think the reason why we've seen it not do as well as it should have isn't because of some of the flaws that are in it, but it's actually the actual controversy that people created around it to start with the
Hmm.
whole whitewashing argument,
Hmm.
which the creator of Ghost in the Shell has come out and said, like, no, that's perfectly fine. That totally fits the Major because guess what? Cyborg body.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like it wasn't really given a fair shot by the public in general for something that had literally nothing to do with the movie. And even from like, and I'm not going to argue whether or not Hollywood whitewashes or not, but even from the standard of like, well, we shouldn't do it because it's culturally insensitive and it's whitewashing or anything like that. If you actually look at the universe this is based in and where this is starting off, I mean, the Major could have been black, and I would have been like, okay, interesting choice. Let's see how this rolls.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, obviously there was the big elephant in the room for anybody watching the movie or had any prior knowledge coming into it was the whitewashing controversy and how much that was attached to this film. At least through many people who wanted to go see it or before it came out, it definitely didn't give the movie a fair shake for sure. Um, I think that because the interesting thing about it, if we would go into it a bit more, is the fact that if we want to compare as far as like how over here in the U.S. it may have bombed, but in Japan like it was a hit. Like Japan loves this movie. Um,
Japan loves movies.
mm,
Let's just start with that. Japan loves movies.
mhm,
Period. You
mhm,
take a Japanese anime manga, put it into a live action form. They're already crazy about their anime there. Like,
mhm.
I mean, we've seen some of these people how the crazy they are. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm a fan too, but they take it to a new level.
Mhm,
But I think it's because they're taking something and they're going like, okay, we're at the point now where what we like to see is becoming so mainstream that Hollywood is willing to put it out.
yeah.
I think that's why it was so well received in Japan. Whether or not it had issues or not, I think that's the main thing because it's that first step to getting it more accepted into mainstream culture.
Agreed. Agreed. We don't get many anime movies per se that are live action over here in the states. So, and even when they are, they're not usually good to begin with. So,
Mhm.
this was definitely a real showcase from Hollywood as far as like, hey, we want to make this into something more than just a cash grab. Like we
Yeah.
want to make this something more than that.
And for those who are wondering, when we say it's been a huge success overseas, domestically it garnished 37 million something.
Mm,
Overseas is over 116,000 million.
it's really good.
So more that's what like 75% or something of its gross has come from an overseas market.
Mm, yeah,
I mean, that says a lot about, the movie in other markets where whitewashing wasn't the main topic of conversation.
agreed. Agreed. Um, by off chance, I have IMDb actually up right now actually, but by off chance, like, do you know how much the budget was for this movie?
The budget
Oh, I
um
that's right here actually.
production budget was 110 million.
I see. So they made up that money.
Yeah, so they made that money just on overseas,
Mm-hmm.
and then some. So
Definitely.
they garnished 16 million and change overseas alone.
Yeah. So they definitely made their money back and more and more. So I'm kind of curious as far as like if they're going to proceed with a sequel or are they going to just stop it right here?
Honestly, I think they should, but I think it should be a trilogy for Laughing Man.
Oh God, it'd be so good.
Right?
I was
Right?
so good.
Like the entire movie through it, I'm just like, this feels a lot like Laughing Man.
Yeah, it was
Why does it
funny.
feel like Laughing Man?
It's
Why?
it's funny because it definitely takes some story hints from some of the stories in the animated series. Uh, and I was trying to figure out as well. It's like, is this part of the Laughing Man? Is this part of a different storyline that they're taking from the anime? Um, oh man, the Laughing Man would be freaking great. I would love that.
Like I almost feel like you could have bypassed this movie, come back to it later, and just done a trilogy off the bat with Laughing Man, and it probably would have been really good.
For
I can
sure.
understand why they wouldn't want to, because a trilogy is a lot to invest,
Right.
so they want to test the water first. But I feel like if we didn't have the whitewashing controversy, if they, let's say they did cast Japanese for Major,
hmm
I feel like a Laughing Man trilogy would have done really well to open up with, and then come back to show like an origin story of Major.
Yeah, that would have been great.
It may have been a little bit touch and go at first because once again, trying to bring in a new crowd who may not know this series, may
hmm
not know the lore behind it, anything at all. But I mean, let's be honest. You throw up, "Hey, we're making a trilogy," people sit up and pay attention.
Yeah, it is very risky to kind of go off the opposite and say that we're going to make a trilogy of this movie that, hoping the first one nails it, because if it doesn't, then, very much a lot of questions as far as like, should we make a sequel to it? Should we continue this plan for trilogy? Um, which, it all depends on the market. It all depends on people who want it and the money that's involved. But with that being said, um, they make their money back, and then some. Whether they make a sequel, I don't know. I would like to see one, but
Um,
we'll
I
see.
feel that's a hard sell to Hollywood right now because of, and I hate to drag it up again, the whitewashing accusations.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood, for the most part, is their attitude's more like, well, fuck you. We need star power so we can actually get funding, which is a real thing.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
have somebody. I mean, there's a couple exceptions, like you can cast unknown actors in certain roles. A lot of the times, like my favorite example, Black Hawk Down.
hmm
Nobody at the time was famous, but that was the whole point of the movie. You had a bunch of people in the Middle East that were in this huge story that's been written about for something where you're trying to bring something to life on screen. It's already got a following. Yeah, you're going to get those people probably to come and watch, but you also have to pull more people in. To do that, you have to have a name behind it. Please name me one Japanese actress who could play Major.
Um, I can't remember her name, but the girl from Pacific Rim.
So we got the girl from Pacific Rim, but no name.
Yeah. Well, good point.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can be
Good
like,
point.
oh, that one actress that was in this movie, she was really good, but you don't know her name.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You need to have a name where people are like, oh, she's gonna be in it. Oh, damn.
Yeah. And that's been the problem in Hollywood for a very long time. So, um, it's definitely something that's been there for a while, and it just kind of powered on to the whole situation with the movie. And I understand the argument. I understand, from a lot of people who are saying who like want to see more Asian actors in movies and as a main role. And there are some, but you don't walk away remembering that Asian actor performance, or you don't remember in a sense of like hey, Scarlett Johansson, or hey, a kind of counter, like kind of other side of that would be male character like Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
So name recognition
That
is
was a
huge in
weird
Hollywood over
too.
here, and it's definitely something where it has an issue for a very long time with the Asian community, and we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of one of those moments where like one step forward, two steps back situation.
And like I said, I would love to see more, more people of different races in movies and larger roles. I think it'd be really awesome for humanity as a whole, first off. And
Hmm.
second off, it wouldn't have so much of this, like, well, kind of fits. Or like we wouldn't have a Gods of Egypt situation where we have a Scotsman playing a fucking Egyptian god. Fuck that was. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's just one of those things where no matter how much we shove and say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, the end of the day, it comes down to the same thing that I tell people in my day job. The company is there to make money.
hmm, yes,
I agree, certain things need to happen, but if it doesn't make money, if they're not going to make money off of it, why would they do it?
agreed, agreed, agreed. Other than that, what I can say about the movie itself, I think that I think the movie is pretty. Again, if you're a fan, if you've seen the series, I think the movie is fine. I think that if you walk into it seeing anime before, it's like walking in and watching another episode of Ghost in the Shell, which is really cool. Was a great feeling when I was sitting there watching it. Um, but if you haven't seen it, if you have no knowledge of Ghost in the Shell, like, or any of that, it may fly over your head. It may not be something that you're gonna get into, and it'd be a hard sell for a lot of people to really be invested into the movie. So, in this non-spoiler section, I'd say, like, see it if you're a fan. If not, if you still want to see it, I suggest probably just waiting until, again, like Power Rangers movie review, like the DVD or like the Netflix when it comes out.
Honestly, if you're a fan of special effects, you should see this movie.
Oh yeah, oof, man,
I
especially
mean,
it's freaking
just
awesome.
for the special
It was
effects
good.
alone, if all you want to do is be like, I want to see awesome special effects this year,
Hmm.
Ghost in the Shell fit that bill for you.
Oh
You may
yeah.
not like the storyline, you may not like the actress choice. The special effects are still amazing, and the team behind that did an amazing job.
Hmm. Agreed.
And they
Agreed.
don't get shout outs often enough, by the way. Special effects
Agreed.
are hard, and if you do them, you're awesome.
Yeah, the special effects in the movie was fantastic. Again, the aesthetic and the look of the film nails what the anime and the manga, how it's portrayed. It was really spot on. It was really cool. So definitely something you should definitely look into. All right. I think we had enough time for non-spoilers. This has been your final warning, but we are moving on to the spoiler section of the podcast, where we talk about all the spoilers of the
Okay,
movie.
okay. So when she gets blown the fuck up, holy shit. Just gonna jump straight into this one. Because I was confused why you had normal eyes at first, and then that whole scene, I'm like, damn,
Yeah,
damn.
yeah. It made it. That made perfect sense. His eyes, gets damaged, and you replace them with biotic eyes, and it's like, oh yeah, there's Balto.
On how they got damaged. They're not. They leave that up to your imagination. We just know there was an explosion, Major shoved him out of the way. You're near an explosion, you're going to get hurt.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just common sense.
Hmm.
But they don't really tell you explicitly like, oh, he caught shrapnel or his eyes got burned or whatever.
Right, definitely, definitely. What I will say about the story, because while I sat there kind of trying to figure things out, given I was 5 minutes late to the movie, I was rushing in, so I was like kind of wondering, like, well, they were charging in, I guess, in the beginning of the movie of the Major and Section 8 were they were in to capture somebody, I believe, or they were trying to
So the very beginning of the movie, the opening scene of it was, well, the main opening scene of it was basically Section 8 is watching over the African president, I think he was.
hmm.
So Africa's now one entire country instead of a bunch of separate ones, which is cool. Sure, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
And basically, it was some guy from a cybernetics company trying to sell the guy on using his company, and and I guess they were watching him because foreign diplomats, they tend to get targeted for things, so they're kind of just watching him, and then shit kind of goes south real fast, and all of a sudden you've got this giant fucking gunfight on your hands.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. And that's how I kind of walked in, and as they were fighting, and eventually they
Did you see the scene where she actually like jumped off the building?
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was really sweet.
that was pretty sick. Yeah, that was really
Where
cool.
she like jumps off the building, and as she's falling backwards, mind you, because she's faced the building before she went off, she uses her optical camouflage, and she like vanishes like part of the way down. It's really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, it was really really sick. Um, but yeah, movie started out that way off of a action scene. And then as the story progressed, like to me, I maybe because I wasn't not paying as much attention as I should have, but to me, I just the story didn't really I wasn't able to figure it out until like maybe two like I want to say halfway, a little more halfway into the movie. Um, Only because there was two storylines that were happening in the movie. There was the Major trying to figure out who she really is. She's having these glitches. She's seen images of like images of her past. Um, and then at the same time, you have this other storyline where uh, there is another android like the Major that went through the same process before her and is out for revenge. And I didn't really get that until like midway, and maybe the story wasn't just it's told to me as well, or maybe I wasn't just paying attention. But to me, I felt like I didn't really get it until later on in the movie, and once I did, I was like, oh, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, it did. It definitely started out as like two separate entities. Where one, they're trying to find this guy who was hijacking and trying and hacking into people and killing people, and then the Major with her trying to find out who she really was, how she came to be in the body she was in, things like that. But I do feel probably about the halfway point, those two started to dovetail very nicely, or not dovetail because that's separating, but when they came together very nicely and intertwined, not perfectly, but it came together very well.
Definitely, definitely. Um, I think one of my favorite parts in the movie is just like, and this is actually toward like more towards the end. But one of my favorite parts of the movie is the fact that freaking the leader of Section 8, the old guy, is like you thought you can kill him, but he ends up just like kills off people who were trying to kill him with his wait, what kind of gun was that? Was it
Oh, the gun he was using?
yeah.
He was using a fucking hand cannon. That's what he
Yeah.
was using.
It was
That man is a
incredible.
beast with his gun. He's like, nah. Fuck that little punk ass 9mm bullshit.
It was really cool because like we don't see that as often as we should of like old men actually kicking some ass. Then he did. He was just like, hey, you don't send what was it, a chicken to the foxhound and you just freaking just just killed everyone that was near him. That was freaking awesome. Um, but yeah, like there were some great moments in the film. There was definitely some interesting moments as well. As like when the Major was trying to figure herself out, there were definitely moments where
That just sounds all kinds of dirty.
um like it was really cool. It was some really cool moments as far as like what they showed. Like for example, when I wasn't sure if the girl was a prostitute or she was off the street. She was wearing like this gold makeup. And she was
Oh,
blonde.
yeah, no, that was a prostitute.
Okay.
That was a prostitute. Yes, there's a prostitute in it, guys. Relax. Nothing happens. Not really. It's kind of weird, but nothing sexual really happens.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's more sensual.
Yeah, I would say more sensual than sexual. But I really like that scene because it definitely. She was very curious. She asked, the prostitute, take off your makeup and your mask, and she wants to see what's underneath really what is. And she asked, like how does it feel? She like touch her lips, and it's like just trying to figure out how she can relate, or just how can she what is it to be a human? What is it to be this other species that she is still trying to figure out? Like there's definitely some awesome moments where it showcased like her struggles to figure that out in the movie. And I really appreciate it. It was really cool.
Yeah. No, I mean it definitely, because you have to remember too, like she's trying to figure out who she is, what she is, all of that, what it means to be what she is, because she keeps getting told repeatedly throughout the movie, "You're the first of your kind. You are the future." She keeps getting told that over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So she was put in the body, it sounds like, as a young child. I can't remember for sure, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, and I think canonly it is as like a small, like 9-year-old child she gets put in this body.
Mm-hmm.
And canonly she gets put in a body and they upgrade the body as she gets older because she no longer gets a body, so she's not really aging anymore.
Right.
But so think about it. If, let's say, the Major's 27. I have no fucking idea how old she really is. But let's say she's 27. If she's put in the body at 9, that's almost 2 decades worth with no actual sensation for touch.
Yes. Yes.
Like, so the idea behind showing that scene with the prostitute where she's like, I want to see the real you. And then, like, using her fingertip to, like, touch, like, along her face and her cheeks and lips and be like, what does this feel like? I mean, that makes sense because that's her trying to understand who she is at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Or what she's missing, maybe I should say.
Definitely. You know, it's funny when I was watching, like, for the Major, for, you know, as long as I've watched Ghost in the Shell, like, she gets her ass kicked a lot in this movie. Like,
Yeah, that's I don't know if I agree completely, because I would remove the bomb situation because she was protecting him.
right.
So let's walk that one out.
Okay.
She gets shot a couple times. Okay, yeah. I mean, she got shot, but who the fuck cares, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she doesn't bleed. Whatever. I got shot. Oh, God. As long as it's not my head, who gives a fuck?
Yep.
I mean, so getting her ass kicked, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that statement. She definitely does take a lot of body damage that's unnecessary, but I think part of that plays into her character development, which is, my body's not real. What am I? So I think it's tied to that whole point where she's having that crisis of, I'm not a real person. I don't know what I actually am. So she doesn't really care about the body because, well, she said it point blank. You could fix it.
That's true. That is true. As she was, like, lying there, and as, you know, her body's being repaired, you know, she did say that. So
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that is a good point to bring out. Yeah, she
She
basically,
didn't get torn the fuck up at the end, though.
she did.
Which also is an almost, if I remember correctly, screen for screen recreation from the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was kind of saddened. Well, I mean, obviously, you know, it's the origin story, so, you know, obviously everything's not going to be exactly as, you know, as I want it to be from the anime. But it was kind of like, it was kind of weird to see that Tachikoma, like, be in the movie, but, like, not the blue selves, but, like, this gigantic, like, gray spider, which was being controlled by, you know, the head of, what was it? I want to say what was the government, but it was well, hang on, let me bring up IMDb for this. Give me a second here.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. So the part where she gets grabbed on the face, that did happen in the original one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to go mostly off of memory here, guys, so bear with me.
Yeah.
So that definitely happened in the original Ghost in the Shell movie as well. Her jumping onto the back and, like, pulling on it until she literally tears her body apart, but still manages to complete what she's trying to do. That's also canon. That was there in the original one.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if the spider tank was as big as it was in the movie or in the anime. I don't feel like it was quite as large as they portrayed it in the live action movie, but it was still pretty fucking massive. Because the ones you're talking about, where they have, those are like the version 2 or 3s.
Yeah, I think you're
So
right.
those are the small, like, police versions of the military grade, which is what she fought.
Oh, you're right. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, you're right.
That's the military grade version.
That's right. It's been a while. Bear with my old man mind.
We're reaching here, guys. I mean, he hasn't seen it since it was on freaking what, Adult Swim?
Yeah, it's been a while. But But no, I just remember I just looked at the guy who was controlling. It was Cutter. That was the guy who was controlling
Yep.
the tank. Um, but yeah, like I think that that was pretty cool. I liked the definitely scene for scene from the anime into the movie when that happened. Um, I think that whole action scene was fine. If we're talking about the ending scene of the movie, um, I think that's you know it was fine. Like the way that the major was able to combat it. Um, Definitely showcase everything that she knows. Go invisible and attacking the spider tank. Um, there was definitely a certain helplessness when it came to the other android as he was lying there. Really couldn't do anything and just had to just watch helplessly. Uh,
That's what reminds me too. So in the original one, so in this live action one, they have him be male.
hmm
In the original one, in the original movie for the anime, a lot more androgynous, and I think is actually a female body.
Oh, that's right. That's
I
right.
think.
No, you're
Like I said,
totally
it's
right.
been a while.
No, no, no. You're totally right. It definitely rings a bell right now for me. I'm not thinking about it.
I definitely remember longer hair, and I remember at some point because I watched it as a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, naked!" So I mean, I don't think the reaction was to the major because, well, yeah, she gets naked like 90% of that fucking movie. It seems like, but I think it was the other android that was actually a female body. I don't know if it was a male mind or not, but it was a female
Mm,
body. I'm pretty sure.
right. Yeah, yeah. It's speaking of the character, I think that that character was fine. I think that it just at the time it nailed the aesthetic as well as what purpose that he had in the movie to move the story along.
Oh no, I think it worked really well for the live action movie. Like, no complaints about that. I just
hmm
think it's just another. It's a small discrepancy between the two movies, and it's one that hardcore fans will nitpick on. But honestly, I think with how it was set up, with how they did the visuals and everything like that, it worked really well to have it as a male.
Agreed, agreed. Um, I think it was done very well. I think that character was great. Um, I think that if people are gonna nitpick it, and I would say like it was fine. I don't think you guys can nitpick it too much. You're getting Ghost in the Shell live action for crying out loud.
I mean, this has opened the door for so many other things too. So I
Agreed,
mean,
agreed.
great grain of salt. They have to do a little bit of nudging and pushing here and there to try and make it fit what they needed to fit.
hmm
But for the most part, it retained what the essence is for Ghost in the Shell.
Right, right. The other thing I like about the movie is like I really like the again the special effects in the film was freaking great. We keep saying
Oh
it over
god,
and over
yeah.
again, but like again they nailed how the city looks to the anime manga. They nailed like just as far as like as a sci-fi nerd, like as a sci-fi fan, like this is super cool. Like everything that they've done. Um, I like I really love the creativity they did when the major was hacking into the one of the robots and the way that they showed she was being hacked into when she was in the robot's brain, where you have all these people like in black outfits, kind of like a sea of just like of don't kill me, a sea of black people just like grabbing
Racist.
just grabbing her and trying to pull her down. It was super cool and creative. I love every aspect of it of this movie when it came to special effects and the sci-fi of it. It's super cool. It was super super cool. Um,
I mean, honestly, like I said, whether you like the movie or not, if whether you like the idea or you hate the fact that they whitewashed the major, or you just are terrified to the very depths of your soul of what they would do to a real life adaptation to an anime. If you like special effects, fucking go, man.
yeah.
Like, at the very least,
Yes.
go, because that supports the special effects guys in Hollywood, and that alone is an industry that is in trouble and should have your support.
Agreed. Agreed. Special effects is bar none one of the best I've seen in a while. And for this year for sure. Um, the so and we're kind of all over the place, but like just kind of things coming to mind. Now, we talked about the whitewashing controversy with this movie. It didn't really, I won't say show itself, but like to me, it kind of stuck out to me a little bit just for the sake of the ending of the movie where the major finally figures out like who she was, like what, she goes to the apartment that she used to live in, and meets her mom, not really say, but obviously, her mom kind of figures out like, oh, you're alive, you're my daughter, and
Yeah.
the real name finally comes up as far as like who the major was, which was Makoto. I'm gonna push. How
Come on,
bad
dig deep, dig deep.
Makoto Kusaragi. Oh my god, I'm horrible. But I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say.
Great shame. Great shame.
But the point I'm making is that like it like when the reveal that happened, and when the major is standing there in front of her grave with that name, in Japanese, like it felt a little weird, because then I'm like, it's because it just felt a little disconnected to me, because like, oh, I guess I can see why the whitewashing argument can come in, because I'm like, at that point it's more like looking at Scarlett Johansson, it's like, oh, okay, so, huh.
Want to know something really ironic about the whitewashing too?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was screaming about how it should have been a Japanese character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking wrong. Should have actually been Chinese. Ghost in the Shell is set in China.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually set in Hong Kong.
Mm.
Because Hong Kong is infamous for those, like, that huge tower of apartments. They're infamous for that. That is Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
So, if you want to get technical, should have been Chinese, not Japanese. How dare you suggest that they take a job away from a Chinese actress and give it to a Japanese one? Racist.
Right. Yeah, it at that point it felt kind of weird. That whitewashing thing, they come out, and like, at least to me, and I was like, oh, I can see why people are going to point this out as far as like why, for their arguments. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it was explained in the movie prior, like, she's a cyborg. She can be whatever her maker makes her to be.
Not only that, they didn't want to make her the same race because they were taking these people off the streets and shit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it does make sense to, change her race for that, because you don't want her even have the remote possibility of being recognized.
Agreed. That is why that's why her mom never found her.
Like, her mom didn't even realize it was her until like the very end of their fucking meeting.
Yeah, which I will admit, it was that meeting between Makoto and the mom, her mom, was a little awkward. It just,
yeah,
it was a little awkward in terms of like how they both communicated with each other, what she was trying to infer. It just it felt a little weird. It felt a little weird.
No, I definitely agree with that.
Outside from that, I think that I can't really say much about anything else about the movie, other than the fact that, like, I enjoyed it. I was sitting in the middle of a theater with nobody in it.
Right, wasn't that awesome?
I know, God, it's so cool.
So I went to the theater near me that actually allows you to buy beer. So I bought a beer, got some chili cheese fries, sat down in the middle of the theater, looked around, went like, I'm literally the only one here. And like, I had to get up like right as the credits were, like the opening credits were starting. I had to run outside to grab a fork because I had forgotten a fork for my chili fries. Mm-hmm. And as I'm running out, I pass this old guy that works there, and he's super chill. I know him. Mm-hmm. And he looks at me, and I'm like, I'm the only one in there. So as I'm coming back in, he's like, you saved the entire movie. We were going to stop it from playing.
That's great.
Oh, so I'm just like, yeah, that's right, bitch. My own private screening. You know how much people pay for private screenings?
I know, right? So I've been saying this for the past, I think, 1 or 2 podcasts on this movie podcast, I should say. And I've been going to this movie there called the Brandon Theaters in Concord. I get it for work, midday to 3 p.m. And, I go to the movie theater out there to go watch, what we've been watching. and they have these chairs that you can lay back in, and they're mechanized too. So every time I go there, I get some like nachos, or I get a hot dog, and I have just the chair just do the work for me as it like transition to lazy boy mode, and I'm just like, this is freaking fantastic. So it's been great. It's been really cool as of late to be
Yep.
going into these like movies with just by myself.
Yeah, I go to the Angelica by me, and it's the same thing. You got like the recliners, motorized ones where they like pop up and lean you back a little bit.
hmm
Oh, if you ever get to go to one of those movie theaters, it's a little bit more expensive usually. Totally worth it.
It is. It is definitely definitely worth it. Um, but overall, I think I think I mean I like the movie. I can see why people don't like it. Um, but I mean I probably should save it for my final statement actually.
Yeah, we probably want to save that part.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about the movie? It's like anything that stood
um,
out to you or?
God, the only other thing I wish they had gone more in depth to was the actual weaponry that they were showing,
Yeah.
because they didn't really go into it a whole lot. You didn't really understand it. It looked like it was just kind of like a quote unquote future version of like a pistol or an assault rifle, but with the setting that it was in, and you saw it very briefly at the end where one of the Section 8 guys had the sniper rifle hooked up to his eye. Like, there's some
Yeah.
really cool tech that's in Ghost in the Shell that they could have gone into, but they didn't.
hmm
And it would have been really nice to see that like open up a little bit further and kind of like show more of it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I would love to see more about more of that. Um, but spend your suspend your belief, or what's the word? How's it go? Suspend your basically just like
I have
go
no
with
idea
it.
what you're going with on this one.
I'm just saying, just go with it. It's the future. Guns are gonna be super
Just roll with the
sci-fi.
flow, man. Roll
Yeah,
with the flow.
just go with it.
Just
But
roll with it and go.
yeah, it is definitely really cool. All right. So I talked about a little bit earlier. We're gonna move on to our final section of the podcast. So we've been talking about this movie we're talking about this Ghost in the Shell. Man, I'm losing it already. Oh my god.
I don't know what we're doing.
So okay, I love Ghost in the Shell. I love the anime. I watched the animated movie afterward. The not the original Ghost in the Shell, but the one after the anime ended. Um, in dub, I might add as well. It's really good. I like the aesthetic of how the movie kept to the manga anime. I like the action scenes. I think the characterization of the major and her trying to figure out, what is she, what exactly, is her past. I think that was all fine. I think that the storylines, were kind of, in my opinion, a little hard to follow a bit up until the midway point to where they're finally intertwining to where they're finally able to figure it out. And I could definitely see why people don't like the movie, because for a lot of us who have not seen, for me, I've seen it. I know about the anime, but for people who may not have seen it, this will go over their heads. They may ask a lot of questions like, why do I care about this character? Who are these people? Like, just explanations that are left unsaid. And the whitewashing controversy obviously played a huge role into this. Well, as we said prior, like did very well outside the U.S. in the United States. In the States, it did bomb, and it it definitely was a point where people were attaching to this, and whether you agreed or not, this movie, um, for the special effects, for the story it showed, it was actually pretty fun to watch as a fan. So with that being said, overall, I'd say if you are a fan, watch it. If you are not, but you're still interested, it's going to be the same thing I said about people who saw the Power Rangers movie. Wait till the Netflix, wait till the DVD comes out. So with that being said, like I've talked about with the Power Rangers movie, I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Give me a second here as I put that number in, so that makes it official. Boom, 6 out of 10. All right, so let me give me a second here as I queue you up. All right, so what are your final thoughts and score on the movie?
Well, First off, as we've said throughout this entire review, I honestly think a big, huge saving grace for this movie is the special effects. Without the special effects, I probably would have rated this like a 4, honestly. Because while the story is there, and the story does follow the original very closely, there are these little bits and pieces that I feel should have been included so that you got the full feel for the universe that they're building for this. So, honestly, it doesn't work as well as I would have liked it to as a standalone story. I think it still does have a very, very strong storyline, especially if you're not sure of what the Ghost in the Shell series is. I disagree with you on this one. I think it's a very good introductory. Get you a little bit of a taste without setting everything in motion. So it's, if you haven't seen it before, you go and see it, you're like, hey, this is kind of cool. What's this about? You then can go out and find all the other stuff that's already out there for the animes. There's 2 or 3 different movies. There's an entire series about it. It's a great introductory to it. That being said, because of the special effects and how much I absolutely loved how they did them, and they did so well on so many different aspects of it, I'd probably give it a 7.5.
All right. Oops, hang on. Give me a second here. Boom.
Like I said, the special effects definitely save this one.
I agree. I think the special effects definitely was a huge part in this movie. But that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Also, thank you, Alex, for joining me for this podcast. Talk about Ghost in the Shell. Now, obviously, I've been saying this for the past couple weeks. I am going to get the podcast set up on the site, and I'm going to be uploading these videos on YouTube. Or if you are watching it on Facebook, you can actually watch it in our video section on our Facebook page if you want to so inclined to see our reviews and whatnot. Before we end the podcast, Alex, where can I find you on the internet?
Majority of it, you can find me on Facebook as Capture Photography. You can also find me on Twitter. Feel free to message me on Twitter at BIGIEU. I don't post a whole lot, but I definitely will respond if you direct message me or you at me.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. You can follow me personally on Twitter at DefectiveNaruto. You can follow the work that I do at MissionStarPodcast.com, as well as the help with Alex when it comes to convention photography from time to time. The next movie I'm gonna personally go watch, and I think I won't be alone in this, is Guardians of the Galaxy, which is coming up pretty soon. And
May 5th, bitch. Yeah, God, definitely.
I'm in there. I cannot wait.
I'm rocking a half chub right now just thinking about it.
I heard today there's like 5 after scenes credits.
Yeah, I heard there's 5, and I'm just like, so basically you have a movie, and then you have a mini movie. Holy shit!
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be freaking awesome. I'm pretty sure I won't be alone in this one. I'm pretty sure most of the MSP crew will be in that podcast for the next time for this movie podcast.
That's gonna be like a 3-hour long one as we pick the damn thing apart. Watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be great though. It's gonna be freaking awesome. With that being said, thank you very much again for watching, and this has been another episode of Shut Up Trying to Watch Here, a movie podcast. Thank you. Good night.